What is going on, everyone? Can you see me? Can you hear me? How's the sound? Should be the same as last week, where we seemed to land on a good number. So we're gonna have the same one here. Was planning on doing puppy drafts so you guys could enter, but it's filled. Every time they open a puppy, it gets filled right away. So we're not doing the Superflex one, and I don't really want to do the Schnauzers. So we're probably gonna do two Best Ball Mania drafts, and I think the single entry ones are gonna be too slow to fill. So probably gonna do some Best Ball Mania. But yeah, they filled the puppy like instantly. I feel like they entered that like 2 days ago. I swear, just everyone loves the puppies. It was a great advancement structure. I love the ones where they have like 2 out of 12, but then it's not like, in Best Ball Mania, it's impossible to advance to the final because it's like, you got to get top 2 out of 12. Then it's like 1 out of 13, first out of 16. Like it's so hard. In the puppies that they were opening, it's top 2 out of 12 advance. Then it's top 2 out of 10, then top 2 out of 10 again. So it's really, really strong advancement. Love those ones. But yeah, fortunately, they need to open up a massive puppy, like I don't even know, 200,000 person contest to keep doing small ones. But yeah, we'll join a Best Ball Mania. Probably just join it now. I keep having to join it so join it now if you guys want to, the 22nd one. Keep having to do it on my phone because I can't figure out my location for some reason when I do it on the computer. But just joined into that one. So we will go in to this. I'm on the clock in a lot of these, but it's getting fewer every day. Okay. And I'll open this up ahead of time. There we are. All right, 4-pick. A lot of badges in here, but not too many. I have been noticing fewer badges and more reaches. Every single day that we kind of move along in the process here, as we get towards week 1, it seems like you kind of get more and more casual people drafting, so a little bit more edge. But yeah, excuse me. Recently, we've seen a lot more falling. A lot more people have been falling in drafts that probably shouldn't be falling. I'll talk about the Denver situation first, I think. Obviously, if Dobbins signing, I haven't seen anything on the contract. I know it's like $5 million, but like I don't know how much of that is guaranteed. I don't know if any of that, if there's like incentive bonuses built in, if that's part of the 5 or if it's on top of the 5. I haven't really seen anything there. So if anyone sees anything, let me know. But yeah, $5 million is a pretty decent deal. That's what Najee got as well for the Chargers, and we're expecting him to have a pretty decent role. We'll end up taking one of Saquon or Bijan with this pick. All right, we'll take Saquon at 4. Lovely. And then we'll pull up, I think it's this one. Yeah, I always forget which one it is for you guys. Yeah, pretty decent deal. Was kind of in line with what I was expecting him to get. We were figuring for a little bit he was going to sign with Denver after that report came out. So I did the projections. Harvey dropped from running back 17 to 21. Dobbins goes from running back 59 to 52. And then McLaughlin and Estimate just kind of fall off a cliff. So it's not terrible for Harvey. He falls. I'll minimize this for a second. He falls from where he was, which was in this like right behind Mixon. So I had Hampton, Walker, Mixon, then Harvey. He falls behind Chuba, behind Kamara, behind Travion Henderson, and then slots in right above David Montgomery. And then Dobbins is in this range. So this whole range of like Dowdle, Algier, Eckler, Wright, Dobbins, Lloyd, Shipley, like that whole general range. That's where he goes. We'll see. That one's obviously a lot more fluid. Just kind of figuring out what his role exactly is going to be with the team. Can he stay healthy? All that stuff. But yeah, that's where I have it right now. You can fire away any questions on that. It'll be interesting to see who we think is going to be the passing down back, because obviously that's going to carry a lot of upside. Sean Payton backfields historically, they throw to the running backs a lot. We know that Bo Nix is very capable of dumping off a ton to running backs. So yeah, it'll be just interesting to see there. We just missed Bowers. I kind of want to try a double running back start here. I don't do that a lot this season. I really like hammering wide receiver, but it's not great value at wide receiver right now. So I think I would prefer, especially different bye weeks with JT and Saquon, we can probably get a relatively unique build here. I know I did, I think last week, one of the drafts we had, was it Saquon, JT, and Bucky? So I wouldn't do that again. And that one was tough because it was, the same bye week for Bucky and Saquon, which you don't really want to do here on Underdog. Yeah, I feel like when I get into this situation, I don't really want to reach into this tier of T, Marv, Tyreek, McLaurin, because I'm probably going to get one of them in the next round. We're obviously not going quarterback here. Like, I would go Marv. I would go Tyreek. I definitely prefer one of them, not down to like McLaurin, Jacobs, JSN, which I'm going to get one of those too. I feel like it kind of represents a little bit of a tier break there. So yeah, I think I like how this starts off. Would have preferred Marv there, but we'll go with, what's ADP have? Yeah, I was curious on that. Yeah, we'll go with Tyreek Hill. Maybe we'll end up with like a Miami stack. I've been doing that a lot. I think the video tomorrow, I'm going over Jalen Waddle, but I've been having a lot of teams where I take Tyreek in this like general 28 to 33 range, and then you just grab Waddle in this like 52 to 56 range. And then usually no one takes Tua. I mean, who's like naked stacking Tua, right? Like all of his value comes from passing. He's going to get absolutely nothing on the ground. So who on earth? Maybe it's the team that takes Jonnu, but like who on earth is taking Tua without stacking it with one of the like two players on the team there? So maybe they take him with Achane, but it's just a little bit easier for us to get that stack. So and there's so much correlation, right? Because if Tua hits, you know where that production is coming from, and you got both of it. So a lot of correlation. All right. I like to start here. Any questions anyone has, it seems like it's like wide open. So you can throw in any question you've got. Need a running back in your dynasty draft. You have the 207, but I'm a strong contender this year. Who should you be targeting? Okay. So I'm assuming what you mean by that is that you want someone who can contribute this season. I'll pull up the dynasty rankings right now for running back rookie. So you're not going to get Genty at 207, not going to be available. Genty, Hampton, Henderson, Harvey, Judkins, Caleb. I'd be shocked if one of them is available. If they are, take them. After that, I like Tootin. If Tootin's available, absolutely go after him. I think he could be the top running back on Jacksonville this season. Then it would probably be looking at like Scatterboo or Jaden Blue. I think there's kind of a tier break down to Jaden Blue and a tier break kind of into like that Jarquez Hunter range. I don't know that I'd want to go past that. So I would say it'd be great if you could get Tootin. Still pretty pumped if you can get Scatterboo. And if not, Jaden Blue is probably the answer at 207. Beyond that, I don't know how much I love, especially production this season from the running backs. Okay. 45. I would obviously take Breece Hall if you were available here, and it would still go into the running back or the 9 bye week he gets taken. But I would have obviously taken him because that's insane value. I feel like Lamar is also incredible value in the late 4th round, so I would take him if he's available. He is. Our only other thought here is Metcalf, but I don't know. ADP value-wise, like I might get Metcalf in the next round, and I'm probably still going to get another good wide receiver in the next round. I don't know. I mean, Lamar in the late 4th just feels like take the really good football player, take the person who's capable of 40 fantasy points in a game. That's another thing in Underdog. It's like sometimes, start to throw out value a little bit when you see, or I guess it's not really throwing out value because obviously he was a great value, but sometimes you do that and you're just like, who is capable of dropping 45? Because that's someone that can win me $2 million, right? That is someone who can have me advance when the rest of my team is doing mediocre, but Lamar scores, 300 passing yards, 100 rushing yards, and has 4 touchdowns. Like, he's capable of that. And those are players you just want exposure to. No matter how he does during the season, you're going to advance a general amount of teams that have those players. And if you can get a player capable of that, Saquon, JT, Tyreek, these guys are all capable of dropping insane stats. We are not going to end. Okay, I was going to say, I thought Flowers was gone. Flowers versus Waddle here is actually a pretty tough call. I do actually think it would make more sense for us. We're not going to get both of them, obviously, it'd make more sense for us to go with Zay Flowers, I think. I don't typically get a ton of him. As you guys can see, he's kind of ranked a little bit lower here. But because we took Lamar, I can still stack him with tight ends later on. So it's not the end of the world. But I've drafted a decent amount of Jalen Waddle and like not a ton of Flowers. And so when I can get Lamar at an ADP value, I think it makes sense to stack it with Flowers again. You wouldn't need to, but if we're hoping for a game from Baltimore, and actually let's see who Baltimore plays in the playoff weeks. I have a game in the app you guys can play to remember these, but I have not played enough, so I don't remember all of them. At Cincy, week 15, that's a huge one. Patriots, and then at the Packers. So actually a decent amount of stacks we can get going there. I mean, there's going to be a ton of wide receivers, honestly, that we can throw into this stack that haven't gone off the board yet. Obviously, we're going to miss out on the top two. But I think if we're hoping that, Baltimore goes off, that week 15 game, Baltimore scores 40, they got to really keep pace. Yes, Lamar could get there without stacking, but if I'm hoping for that sort of outcome, I'm hoping that Zay Flowers is somewhat involved, just better correlation instead of taking the second stack on Miami, because I can still go after a Miami stack even with only Tyreek Hill. But yeah, I really like both those picks in that spot, but I think Flowers just made a little bit more sense. And again, if I don't actually get a ton of Lamar, I would say I'll actually pull up my exposures in a bit. I would say I'm like below average on getting Lamar, and so when I can get him, I want to stack him with his players. All right. Sorry I didn't pull up the picks. I'll do that in the next one, but want to talk through that. At 69 here, probably would not go with a tight end. I'd be hoping to grab tight ends with a stack with Lamar. I would definitely draft Olave. Goddard makes sense with this build. Judy makes sense with this build. Hoping you get one of those three. At running back, that doesn't make a lot of sense for us. And at quarterback, that doesn't make a ton of sense for us. So pretty easy. Draft Judy. We need more wide receivers. We obviously took round 3 Tyreek, round 5 Zay Flowers, but we're a little bit behind on average for kind of a wide receiver depth there. 6 picks away at 76. I feel like that's going to be a tough one for us. Laporta will make sense. I think we should probably go with one of Golden or Jaden Reed. If we're going to get that week 17 at Green Bay, again, we're going to want a lot of scoring in that game. I think it would honestly make more sense than Laporta. I prefer Golden to Jaden Reed, but I'll take either one of them. Both very explosive players. Later on, we can maybe go after like Marshawn Lloyd. Maybe he hits for a big play. We just want something on the Green Bay side to where if Green Bay hits for a big play to Golden, a big play to Lloyd, and they can just get Baltimore back onto the field, that is something that can win it for you in the final week. And it's not like I'm reaching for these players. These are where these players get drafted on average. And there goes Golden. But again, everything I just said, we'll just go over to Jaden Reed. Yeah, I think you just kind of have to do that stack. I think it just makes a lot of sense. All right. We'll pull this back up for you all. And there we are. So team right now looking good. We've got, I don't even know what you would call this build. It's not hero because we have Saquon and JT, but we're just basically hoping those two just get a ton of touches. We're getting so many weeks where those two are getting us our running back score that we can wait. We can wait a long time at running back. We've obviously got a stud quarterback here, and then we filled out wide receiver, Tyreek, Zay, Judy, and Jaden Reed. I get a lot of Saquon, JT, and Tyreek, but the rest of this are not players I draft a ton of, so nice getting exposure to them. All right, we have some questions in here. Again, keep firing away. We will get to all these. Do you feel Neighbors and St. Brown is a tier break? Do you have concerns with St. Brown this offseason? I would say you've got Jamar as a tier of his own. You've got Jefferson. You've got CeeDee Lamb as a mini tier 2. I think everyone else is in a second tier. Puka, Neighbors, St. Brown, Nico, and Brian Thomas Jr. And then you have a tier break into this trio of London, AJ Brown, and Ladd. So I think this draft kind of had it how it should be. You could argue that maybe like Puka and Neighbors, just given what they could be, like Puka could literally have a 35% target share, could be the number 1 scoring wide receiver this season. Like that's in his range of outcomes. Malik Neighbors could have I'm not even joking, 200 targets. Like, he had 170 through 15 games last season. Like, he could have 200 targets this season. He could be the wide receiver 1 overall. Do I think Amon-Ra, Nico, and Brian Thomas Jr. can do that? Yes, I think it's a lot less likely. So if you want to call it a mini tier break there, sure. As far as the knee surgery that St. Brown had, we don't have a lot of news about it. So right now I'm not too concerned. They don't seem too concerned. And if he goes out there and looks fine in camp, I won't be concerned. But it's something in the back of your mind where, like, I definitely would prefer Puka and Neighbors at this point. And I would definitely push St. Brown into that trio of, like, him, Nico, and Brian Thomas Jr. Like, I would definitely not take him ahead of some of those other guys because of it. But I'm not overly concerned about it. Okay, I love Mooney, Pittman. There's a really good range for attacking wide receiver. So we should probably just take Mooney here. But looking at everyone else, I like some of these running backs, but I don't want to take them now. We'll just auto Mooney if time runs out here. Definitely Mooney and Pittman are the top 2 there. I think our next pick makes sense for at 100. I don't love that because Mark Andrews falls a lot. I got Mark Andrews like 120 the other day. Problem is, our next pick after that is going to be 117. It might be, like, if Pittman's there, I'm taking Pittman. If Kelsey is there, I'm probably taking Kelsey. If they're both gone, maybe I do go with Andrews because Andrews is so touchdown dependent for his scoring that, like, if he hits, it's carrying Lamar. Lamar's carrying him, let's be honest. But it's pushing Lamar's score up as well in great correlation. But I don't think that's enough to take him ahead of these guys, especially how much I've seen him fall. And because we can still get Likely. Likely falls pretty decent in drafts as well. And because we only need one stacking partner. We don't need a bunch of stacks with Lamar. We can kind of have him with only one guy. I don't know that I'd go with any other receiver. I think Bateman also, like, later in the next round. Like, we're hoping that Andrews and Bateman can kind of fall here. I don't get a lot of Brian Thomas Jr. because he doesn't typically fall a ton. Pittman goes, or Brian Robinson there. I don't think he would be the pick. That's tough. It would be up to one of those 2. Maybe you do it. I don't love it. I don't love that, but he was the top running back, 11 picks of value, bye week difference, stable player. We've got 2 that were locked in, just adding another stable player there. I don't love that, but I think it also kind of, like, increases the chance that Andrews is available at our next pick. I was fine with Kelsey there, but it's like, if I know I want to go after Likely, if I also know I really like some of the late tight ends and I kind of like triple dipping at tight end, I feel like it might be more beneficial to my team to say, okay, if some of you guys are going to want tight ends, well, you can have Kelsey. Hopefully one of you takes Jonnu. Like, leave me Mark Andrews. That's really the hope at this point, is that they're going to kind of leave Mark Andrews, because I want to double dip Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely in this draft, and then I'll go with just a different, it's a third set that doesn't have the same bye week. But yeah, that's the thought process there. Again, I don't love it. I really want to Pittman with that pick. Okay. So the Bears are going with what they have at running back ? I don't think so. I think they're going to trade for or sign someone. I don't know who it's going to be. Obviously, Chubb is gone. Obviously, Dobbins is gone. So I think it's more trade. Could they trade for Travis Etienne from the Jaguars? Maybe. But yeah, like, I don't think so. And that's why I don't like Roschon, because Mark Andrews goes. I don't like Roschon because not only was he never good in college, not only was he, terrible so far in the NFL, I just don't think you run an offense with him and Swift as the 2 backs. I think you got to bring someone else in. I think they're going to. And that's why I don't agree with the ADP on Roschon right now. How much do you take overall passing volume into consideration when drafting wide receivers versus redraft in best ball? I'll get to that in a second. I don't think there's like a huge difference though. I mean, you're still just kind of looking for great passing environments when you're looking at pass catchers. Like it's really the same thought process, just looking a little bit more towards upside and best ball. So we're going to draft Bateman at this pick. We're not going to draft a tight end after that. I would definitely consider Najee after. We'll just take Bateman now. We won't let it go all the way down. It would be interesting to grab Love. I mean, we can kind of get both sides of that game for week 17 because we have Jaden Reed. We can grab someone later on. I could do Savion Williams in the final round. We could grab like Tucker Kraft a little bit later. So that stack could look good. We don't have a Charger, and then I wouldn't get into this range for there. So I think Love could be the play here. I prefer 2 into ETN, but at 124, if I think ETN has a chance to be traded, okay, ETN goes. I don't think I would go running back here. I'm just not into Javonte Williams. I feel like I need to drop him a little bit more. I keep trying to stay like half a round behind ADP on him, but I feel like the ADP fell a little bit there. I way prefer blue. Like I would rather wait there. Jordan Love goes. That stinks. All right, we should just go wide receiver with this pick then. Probably take top wide receiver and go with Christian Kirk. I could see Warren, but no. We'll go Christian Kirk. I don't think Christian Kirk is some like amazing pick, but I think he's going to be pretty stable for us. Is that the 7th wide receiver I've taken? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. So we've loaded up on wide receivers. Tyreek, Zay, Judy, Reed, Mooney, Bateman, and Kirk. So we really only need like one more receiver. And to be honest, we might only need one more running back. So we're going to have plenty of room to draft 3 tight ends, which we'll probably start doing soon. Plenty of room. Will that allow us to draft 3 quarterbacks as well? We'll see. I mean, we have Lamar, so we don't have to. I think we're set up really well in this draft. But yeah, anyways, like for passing volume in best ball, it's like, it's more so obviously you want to kind of hyper focus on teams in general. You want to focus on teams that I more focus on teams that come to you naturally, right? Like naturally you do enough drafts, which you should be doing. If you've got like $100 to do for the whole season, do $100 in $3 and $5 drafts. Don't do Best Ball Mania. But like when you're doing that, you're naturally just going to get random value. Randomly, Raiders players are going to fall. Randomly, Cardinals players. And when that happens, you more tell a story. If you want to go all in, you're like, I like at ADP, I really like this team. When you're doing that, you do want to think about dome games, you know, like the Arizona plays, I think the most dome games this season. You do want to think about the coordinators. You do want to think about the quarterbacks being like, are they actually capable of doing amazing at cost? But for the most part, I more think about what's value right now and how can I tell a story about this team doing really well? Because if that hits and I got it at value, then your team just starts to skyrocket. And since I want to get a general kind of like, I don't know the word, a general percentage, it's probably not the right word there, just of teams, general distribution of teams, I guess, that's just the best way to do it. Instead of being like, this is the draft, I do this is the draft, I do this, kind of let it come to you, which is what you should do in redraft too. So I don't think there's a huge difference there, but I guess in best ball, you want to lean towards that ceiling. Okay, I really like Dallas Goedert, but likely just obviously makes the most sense for our build. We get that stack in there. So I'd love to get likely then maybe Goddard in the next round, but I would honestly be fine with Kincaid as well. So that's probably going to be something we do. If for some reason if they just happen to take tight ends, that would be the reason. Well, there goes one of them. If we can't get another, would we get any other tight ends here? Pitts has been falling. I don't want to do that. So I'd only go Kincaid. I'd be fine with these wide receivers, but if I'm only going to take one more, I don't have to do it now. I would take Trey Benson. That would be a decent last run. Okay, there goes Trey Benson. Quarterback. Tua. And that is a different bye week. It's the same bye week for Kincaid, which I don't love, but I think value-wise, I'm already taking 3. I'll make sure that one doesn't have the same bye. So that's not a huge problem. There goes Kincaid. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just take 2 with this one, and we'll go double late tight end. I just don't want to reach any of these tight ends right now. And Tua does make sense. We got the Tyreek stack. We'll let it auto draft us to a. Because none of those wide receivers were good value. Be fine with Rashad White, but again, we're probably only taking one more running back, so I want it to be at one that I like at a good cost here. Okay, I think we're coming along. We're getting sniped a little bit, which is frustrating, but not too bad. When are you first grabbing an elite quarterback? No, when you are first grabbing an elite quarterback, and when you do, when are you willing to grab a second quarterback? I don't know if that question is for best ball or redraft. In redraft, if I'm drafting any of, we'll say Josh Allen, Lamar, Daniels, Burrow, and Hurts, any of them, I'm not taking a second quarterback. I'm going to assume they're going to be good to go. And if not, unless I'm in like a 16-team league, but anything else, I'm just going to assume I hit on that quarterback. And if not, I'll go to free agency. In best ball, it's always just value for me. Like quarterback especially. I'm just going when things fall. I'm going when the stack is available. Obviously, it's probably not ideal to be like double dipping the elite guys, but you truly never know. And if that becomes a value, then why not? What's team 11 doing? Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Baker. They've got Jonnu and Mark Andrews. So their only wide receivers right now are J-Mo, Adunze, Leggett, and McMillan. They're falling really behind on wide receiver. And then CMC, Mixon. It's not horrible, but yeah, it's definitely not a way that I would build. Okay, 165. Again, we're going to need more at tight end here. But these are not values. I like Dobbs. I don't like this. And I don't like this. All right, we're probably going to take Dobbs as the last wide receiver. Because Dobbs also goes with our... we don't have, obviously, Love, but it goes with our build for Green Bay. Plus, it's a value. Plus, the player I like. That makes sense to take. I think we're going to have to force a tight end here at 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 4 picks left. We're probably not taking another wide receiver. Probably 2 quarterback, 1 running back, and then we'll see with the other play. So I would take Gesicki. I would take Ertz. Week 7 buy is what we're avoiding here. I wouldn't force another tight end. I would wait and do 2 later if we don't get one of those 2. I mean, obviously it's a sick value for Tillman, but then I wouldn't really like anyone else here. But we can also get Hopkins. If we want to, go a little bit later at wide receiver, we can grab Hopkins if we want another one. I don't hate Rico. I don't hate going with Dobbins. But I also like Marshawn Lloyd, and Lloyd makes sense with our stack, and I can get him later. So I think tight end is the best play for us here. And I definitely would prefer Mike Gesicki among this group. Just gaining exposure to not only a player that we're going up against in week 15, but a player that, is on a team that is going to have a lot of players advancing, is going to have a lot of upside. If he can steal touchdowns away from them in those weeks, that's good for us. But yeah, I feel like obviously Tillman's not going to be there, but Tillman, Hopkins, Lloyd are what we're like really hoping for in the next round here. I like this draft so far, though. I think everything's going pretty well for us. But yeah, again, I don't know exactly for that one when that second quarterback was. For redraft, I guess I can answer for if my first quarterback is Fields, Caleb, Goff, Dak, Purdy, I feel like it might as well just double dip, take another one you really like, see which one works out. Yeah, that'd be kind of where I'd be looking there. Who do you personally prefer over London and Brown? I know your rankings are almost back to back, but curious who you prefer personally. Pretty sure the rankings have AJ Brown. I think that's who I prefer. I draft more AJ Brown because his ADP is later, and I think the rankings have him higher, so that just naturally happens. So I have to force a little bit of London. I just think AJ Brown's still like a top 7 wide receiver talent. I think he's a better talent. I think that offense, obviously they won a million games last season. Maybe they regress a little bit. Maybe they're not at the 1 yard line every single play, because there's a crazy amount of plays where they just ended up at the 1 yard line. They got the tush push. Like sometimes they might actually beat the 7 and be able to throw the ball to AJ Brown. I don't know. He's an exceptional talent. It's really difficult for me to pass on him in like the second round. I know London's amazing as well, but AJ Brown's just a better wide receiver. So I prefer him, but I do need to do a better job like mixing him in a little bit more. Okay. I think it makes all the sense in the world here to grab that 9th receiver in Hopkins. We'll still have 2 more picks. We can still grab another tight end, another running back. I don't think we need to grab another quarterback because we have Lamar and we're hoping he works out. Hopkins is going to be very touchdown dependent, but that works out beautifully for us. Like he's going to have touchdowns. That correlation, having Lamar, Flowers, Hopkins, and likely all these guys like touchdowns are going to be the name of the game here. And again, I think I can afford having that on this team because Saquon JT opened up the door for us. Saquon JT is going to be a locked and loaded 1-2 because we're assuming we're not winning at all if one of those guys gets injured. We're really hoping we can get Marshawn Lloyd with this pick. I'll be very happy with this draft, really no matter what we get at tight end if that happens. If not, we will settle for Dobbins. These guys have 6 running backs already, so I don't think they're going to take one, so we'll probably end up getting one of them. After that, we're good on bye weeks here, so we can take any bye week for tight end. I would want Jawan, Ferguson, and then it's a little bit more dicey. After that, I see a pretty big tier break in the players I don't really want as much. But I do think that we should force a 3rd tight end. I don't feel comfortable with Likely and Gesicki as my only 2 tight ends. So much variance at tight end, the touchdowns, that you're going to want to have a 3rd if you didn't invest heavily. I honestly like having 3, unless you have Bowers, McBride, or Kittle. I'd want 3. And in a redraft league, I probably want 2 if I don't have those 3 as well. And I probably just wouldn't draft. Nice. Okay, beautiful. I mean, obviously, Dobbins is a great value at this pick, but I think Marshawn Lloyd just makes more sense for this team. Again, I want those Packers in that final week. I want this team making it to the final and having Marshawn Lloyd there. So value-wise, if I didn't have this stack, I'd 100% go with Dobbins. But I think he makes sense. And then we'll grab a tight end. And I think this will be a very, very good draft. I feel very, very good about this one. But yeah, personally, I like AJ Brown a little bit more. Is RJ Harvey dream dead with J.K. Dobbins signing? Probably not completely, but how are we seeing the backfield now? So yeah, again, I opened with this, but I'll pull it up again. Harvey dropped from running back 17 to 21. Dobbins, running back 59 to 52. So increase there, obviously. McLaughlin, 68 to 95, estimated 120. Like, those guys just get absolutely crushed. Like, they just get destroyed. To be completely honest, there was a possibility I could have fit Dobbins into the current projections without even touching Harvey. I know in my mind that shouldn't happen. Obviously, it impacts it. So I took a little bit away from Harvey, but you didn't have to take that much to still give Dobbins a decent workload. It's going to be one of those things where we have to see. We have to just kind of see how they're talking about in camp. How does Dobbins look? How does Harvey look? Because pads are still not on yet, so we just don't have enough information. I still think, where did he go in this one? So Harvey, right here, 55. I think his ADP right now is around there, actually. It's probably in the low 50s. I think ADP-wise, he's going to drop closer to pick 62, 64 in that general range, which I'm still going to be attacking. So I'm still going to be on Harvey all summer long, unless word comes out that they hate him for some reason. Like, I'm still into the talent. This is still a backfield that even when it splits can be highly productive. It's a great team. There's going to be a lot of pass attempts. There's going to be a lot of like pass targets going to the running back position. There's going to be plenty of touchdown opportunities. Like, I still think Harvey's a great talent, so I'm not going to fade him just because of Dobbins, who has never stayed healthy, in his career. So, but yeah, I think Dobbins is also a decent pick at ADP right now. Obviously, he goes way later. Okay, we'll close this off with either Jawan or probably Cole. Yeah, thank God, because Cole Kmet would be just praying for like random touchdowns to flow his way on a good offense, but Jawan makes more sense. Clear pass catching tight end, team that's going to throw the ball a lot. Good talent, underrated. I like this team a lot. This is a very good build. And I think it's nice that like it worked out in a way where I don't know what's going to happen here when he takes this. Hope it doesn't go away. It worked out in a way where like a lot of times I end up going like running back early and I'm like, oh, I've got this great value at running back. But it doesn't really open up anything else for us later on because I still end up drafting a lot of running backs. And so I'm like, I got these guys early, but I maybe overloaded the position. I think it actually did allow us to draft a lot of the players that we wanted to, getting Lamar early and only needing 2. So we got the Tua stack. We got Lamar, but we didn't need to go to that third quarterback. Having Saquon and JT, there were really no great running back values later on. And so I took Brian Robinson at value. I took Marshawn Lloyd for the stack, but we didn't invest heavily there. We were able to just take a position that we faded for a little bit, getting Tyreek, Flowers, Judy, Reed, Mooney, Bateman, Kirk, Dobbs, Hopkins. Like, these are a lot of really talented wide receivers on really good teams. I mean, look at the teams we have now. Throw Cleveland out. We've got Miami, Baltimore, Green Bay, Atlanta, Baltimore, Houston, Green Bay, Baltimore. Like, we're capitalizing on very good teams here. And then Baltimore, Cincy, threw New Orleans away a little bit for the last pick in the draft. But I think this ended up being very, very good for us. So I'm happy about the draft. We'll do another one, though. So join into a Best Ball Mania 22nd if you want to go into this one. Have to do it on my phone again because they can't figure me out on a computer. And then I'll answer a couple of the questions that we have not answered yet. Go to NFL, Best Ball Mania, 20 seconds, enter one. When the puppy was up, I almost entered 5 20-second drafts from the puppy in a row instead of doing the slow drafts, and that would have ended me. Like, I would not have been able to keep up with that many drafts. Okay, active. We need the one that is starting shortly. Right here. Open that up. Do we get pick 4 again? All right. Well, we'll see how the team ends up doing another pick 4. Pull this up and delete it, and then we'll get this ready for all of you and minimize it. All right. See how the team differs. But yeah, I don't think Harvey's dead, and I'm really hoping his ADP drops. Always draft best player available, not for team need. Try to trade up in the draft, if anything, or trade for running back after. My gut says that this person is referencing the dynasty person, because I completely agree with that advice. If you're in dynasty, unless you literally have this dream wide receiver room and your best running back is Nick Chubb, like, you're drafting for best player always in dynasty, unless it's really, really clear. But again, I don't know exactly what he's referencing there. So what should we do here? I'm still going to take Bijan. We're going to start off with a similar build. We'll take Bijan there. Again, I'm curious to see how this one turns out differently, because we're going to have very similar players in these decisions at 4. But maybe we'll lean into an Atlanta stack in this one, which is why I talk about, not being like, this is the Atlanta draft, that's the Arizona draft. Like, just whatever comes to you, that's the team you're going with. Lamar winning the Super Bowl this year? We'll see. Chubb is on dynasty waivers along with Devin Neal, Manungai, I think that's how you pronounce it. Macau, I don't even know who that is. Ollie Gordon, etc. I know you prefer your rookies, but would you go Chubb over any of them? I think definitely over Manungai. I don't really believe in him. I don't even know who Macau is, so I guess over him. Ollie Gordon, I have faith in potentially being a thing, but I could also see him not working out at all. I would say Devin Neal, probably want him over Chubb. There's a very real chance he's the running back 2 right now. It's a very open room, but like, if you've got a rookie that can be the running back 2 on that team, that Kamara's aging, like there's room for that to be a thing. So I would lean towards Devin Neal for sure. After that, maybe if you were a team that was like competing, and you just wanted to grab Chubb, because of course Chubb signed with Texans. If you wanted to grab him after that, being like, maybe he just fills in, maybe he does a little bit for me this season, I think that's totally fine. If you were a team that like has no chance of winning and you're just kind of playing the season out, I don't want to say playing it out for the draft pick, because like I would always try and win. I would really never tank in dynasty. But if that were you that you were tanking, Chubb would not be a pick for tanking. You'd obviously go with one of the rookies because they have more upside. So it's more, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think you have a chance at winning? Go with Chubb maybe over everyone that's not Neil. If you're like, nah, dude, I'm not winning this year, take a shot. Take a shot on Ollie Gordon, maybe being a thing. Okay, what's available to us here? So we're going to be up at 21. We will obviously take A.J. Brown or Ladd if they're there. They won't be. Or Bowers. It's going to be the same thing where they all get taken back to back to back before us, and we'll be stuck with the exact same decision. We did actually see, where did he go? JT went at 13. Wow. Crossing our fingers, Ladd does not get taken here, but he's going to. So when he does, I just don't like taking T. Higgins this early. Oh, Achane, nice. Okay. Wonderful. So we'll take Ladd and we will say thank you. I probably would have taken Achane there. I definitely like him more on Underdog than in redraft just because he is an explosive player. Didn't show it last year, but obviously we know he's an explosive player. Great offense. I just don't like taking T that early because there's plenty of, I have so many builds where I got the 101, I got my Chase, T. Higgins, Burrow, and it's like, I feel like those are the teams that I should be drafting T. Higgins on, not these teams, at 21, like T. Higgins falls to like this 23 to 27 range, not 27, 23 to 25 range. It's given me plenty of opportunities to draft him. I don't want to draft him earlier there. Okay, so we have Ladd and Bijan. I would be good with 1, 2, 3 here. The same thing we kind of talked about before. I'd be interested in doing like a McBride build. That'd be fun. Doing a Bijan, Ladd, McBride kind of team. So hopefully, yeah, nice. Okay, so we get to do that. Top of ADP, top in the rankings, easy decision. And it gives us a different build than we had before, which is always nice to see. We will probably only go with 2 tight ends in this one, which gives us a nice little advantage. We still have the opportunity to maybe only have a 4 running back build. So that gives us, I like these builds that have a lot of wide receivers, but I also like investing heavily at wide receiver. I think it's a very valuable position. There's so much upside it brings to the table being loaded at wide receiver. So we'll see what happens, but my lean is always still, if there's a good wide receiver value, take it. Because wide receiver can fall off at times in drafts here. All right, so we're thoughts on Harvey now. I kind of went over that. I'm pretty sure I did it before you did there. Still, some people have biases with players with last year's numbers. It's a new season. There's always going to be surprise and injuries. Oh, yeah. Everyone has recency bias when we're doing these drafts. Everyone thinks about, what happened last year is most likely to happen this year. And that's even with draft strategy. People are taking running backs a lot earlier than they did last season. It's, if anything, shouldn't running backs be going later than they were last year because there's more good running backs this season? Wouldn't you think that would be the case? But no, running backs crushed last year, so everyone wants to try and grab these running backs early on and build like good teams were last year. We knew last year good teams were able to get, see this like Derrick Henry, JT? Last year it was, you could pair that with Jamar Chase. Well, that opened up a lot of upside, having Jamar Chase with Henry and JT, and those teams crushed it. But now, if you want to do it, you have to do those 2 and then George Pickens. There's a very big difference between a start like that. So I think there's a ton of value in doing what this team here at 7 did. Puka, A.J. Brown, JSN, just overload wide receiver, try and capitalize on running back late. Again, I'm not in love with a lot of the late running backs, but there's still some that I really like. So I don't know. Yeah, everyone's going to be married to numbers last season. How's married life treating you? Very good. Thank you. You love redrafts in September. I don't even know what that means. Bretton Strange, is there a question there? What about the Bears trading for Pierce? I could see it. Yeah. That would obviously, again, crush Roshan, because also any trade indicates to us they're going to use Swift in the passing game. So any trade indicates to us they do not believe that Roshan can be that number 2. So it would obviously crush Roshan, whatever they end up doing there. We're going to be up. But yeah, that'd be interesting. Because I was always a Pierce truther. Metcalf, DJ Moore, J-Mo, Devonta, Hunter, All great picks at this spot. Hampton. There's a lot of good picks here, and I'm glad that we have 2 picks coming up because I very much want 2 of these players. I don't know that we need to play the ADP game that much. All the ADPs are close enough that I'm just going to take Metcalf as what I think is the top guy. I probably should check with like Atlanta. What's Atlanta have for stack here? Atlanta's got at Tampa Bay, at Arizona, which we have already, and the Rams, so there was nothing there. And then what does Arizona have? Arizona has Houston, Atlanta, and Cincy. I don't know. I'm just saying this. I'm ending up with a lot of Arizona stacks. They play like every single game in a dome. They've got great matchups in the fantasy playoffs. I don't know. I'm ending up with a lot of Arizona. I think they take a step forward this season. And like they're such a consolidated offense that like I know what's going to happen. When they do good, I know where the production is going. I've been ending up with a lot of Kyler Murray, a lot of Trey McBride, a lot of Marvin Harrison Jr., and then just stack it with like a late round pick. Obviously, this is great value for us for Hampton, so we're obviously going to do it. Michael Wilson, like later on, it's just like so easy to stack them, and I think they're going to be good this season that, I don't know. Like we're probably going to try and go after Kyler in this draft. Okay, Bill's working out good. We've got Bijan and Hampton, so we're locking in a ton of touches. I love Hampton at 52. Ladd and Metcalf at wide receiver. We've got McBride at tight end. We want to keep focusing on wide receiver. We don't want to fall behind too much. They're only having 2 right now. Have you talked about Harvey Dobbins at the beginning of round 1? Oh, okay. Texans running back room is filled and Pierce could be all guy out. Yeah, no, I agree. Especially with them drafting Woody Marks, who I think to be a good pass catcher. Like, certainly, they could trade Damian. Go for home runs and best ball. Yeah. Tyler Warren, the new Taysom Hill? No. Tyler Warren is not going to get the carries and pass attempts like Taysom Hill does. Let me join your next one. I mean, it's up to you. You can try to get into them. All right. We did another one. You drafted so much Chubb thinking he was going to the Bears. I mean, it's not a horrible landing spot for Chubb. Like, obviously, he's not overtaking Mixon. Don't even think about that for a second. But should like 4 weeks into the year, they traded away Dameon Pierce. Mixon goes down and Woody Marks isn't breaking out. I mean, they're a good team and they're going to give Chubb a lot of touches. But yeah, obviously Chicago would have been a better landing spot because he'd actually get that early down usage to where he'll mix in. But like, let's be honest, on a weekly basis, you are not starting Nick Chubb in fantasy with Joe Mixon healthy. But it's also like you drafted a ton of him in what? Around 17, 18? I mean, that's where he's valued at right now. Like, it's not like that changed a ton. If anything, him signing with the team, getting a contract, being a good team probably is going to increase his ADP. So you still got a good value where you're doing it. Is this best ball mania? It is. Do you need to do content for DK best ball? How does the format there change with the rankings, additional wide receiver? I don't really like produce content besides the rankings. The rankings are up. You can download those. Makes it more wide receiver heavy, but there's also more rounds. So it just makes like you always pretty much go for 3 quarterbacks. But like ADP also changes. So it's not that you're sitting there having to draft a wide receiver at every pick. But like it being full PPR, obviously the elite wide receivers are quite valuable over there. But yeah, I just have rankings for it. I'd love Olave at this spot. Love Deebo Samuel at this spot. We'll probably end up with Olave. Top ranked player by my rankings and by ADP. So no real hesitations in doing that. Whenever that happens, it's a sigh of relief because it's very easy. And we wanted to still build out the wide receiver room, so I don't even know what to say. Obviously, that was an easy pick. I love Deebo here. Would I take Monty? Because it represents a third strong running back with a locked-in workload on a different bye week. So it's a pretty good value in doing that. I like Myers as a talent. Okay, Monty goes. I definitely want one of Debo or Myers here. We don't need to go quarterback. This is a range where like quarterbacks, they fall a little bit to the next spot, so we can wait till the next round there. I don't think I want to go Swift or Aaron. Yeah, I really want one of these two wide receivers. I'm not taking a tight end there. It'd be Swift though. So it'd be one of those two. I just think Myers is better for our team because I like a lot. There's a lot of touches that are locked in with these two. So I don't feel the need to take a shot on DeAndre Swift. And even though I have 3 wide receivers, I have to start 3 every single week plus a flex spot. So I'm still a little bit behind at wide receiver. Also, ADP and my rankings both have Myers. So again, good decision for us. I just think grabbing another receiver there is more beneficial than grabbing our 3rd running back, even though it means we're obviously not going to get DeAndre Swift. But yeah, again, only the rankings for basketball. Because it's very similar. Like all the general strategy, all the general thoughts for why you would draft certain ways, it's pretty similar for DK best ball. Just that, you get the extra 2 rounds, and so you draft an extra quarterback typically. You need to know a few more players, obviously, because you're doing 2 more rounds. But general strategy is still very, very similar. It's just that it's, again, full PPR. So specific players like Derrick Henry, obviously, players who don't have as many receptions, Kyron Williams, they drop a little bit more being full PPR. Yeah. What STU said, I guess. Trade away Kraft, a 1st and 3rd for McBride in 12-team half PPR. Well, what's the 1st? I mean, is this 101 or is this 112? Or is this a future 1st, I guess, is probably what you're saying? Travis, answer that one for me. If it's a future, like next year's 1st round pick, probably not. I'll pull up a Dynasty real quick. So in terms of, like, I have McBride at 57 points of value. I have Kraft. Okay, so it's obviously a huge difference between those 2 in value. It's like 40. But a future 1st, I don't actually have up here. No, I don't think so. And it depends. Maffa was the guy you're talking about before. No, don't be picking up Maffa. He's like, no, he has absolutely no chance. I don't think so. I don't think I would do that. I think it's maybe a little bit too much. Unless you think it's going to be a late 1st round pick, then yes. But if you don't really know where the pick's going to be in the future, probably not. Okay. So, obviously Mooney makes sense here. Obviously Kyler makes sense here. Mooney goes. I swear if Kyler goes. If we get heartbroken and both the guys we want go, we will settle for Michael Pittman Jr., who's, I don't know, I'll actually pull up after. I don't know if he's my highest drafted wide receiver, but he's got to be up there. Yeah, obviously Kyler makes sense. It stacks with McBride. We don't have a quarterback yet. Hyper mobility plus the passing. They actually went a lot more pass heavy in like the second half of last season. That's good for our build here. Just makes too much sense to grab Kyler. I think he's my most drafted quarterback because it's a good spot. This is a really good spot of the draft for quarterback because everything else kind of falls off. I like Warren, I like Scattaboo, but we're starting to fall off here a little bit at value there. We missed out on Pittman. We're not going to get him. Obviously, I like Egbuka, but we're obviously falling off here a lot at wide receiver, tight end. I would go with Kelsey. But, like this general range, we just missed out on the rest of those quarterbacks. But it makes a lot of sense that Baker, Kyler, Bo Nix go in this range. Okay. Would I just draft Kelsey? Just grab McBride, Kelsey, and call it a day at tight end? It's probably not the best value. Ugh. No, I'm not going to do it. We're taking Shaheed. I could have gone with Scadaboo there. Again, you can go with Kelsey. There's so many tight ends I like in this range. Like sometimes Loveland and Warren have been falling, but Njoku, Goddard, Ferguson, Kraft, Kincaid, Pitts, likely. We're probably going to get one of them at a pretty good value. Kelsey this season, it's going to be very touchdown dependent, which is why I like drafting him on teams that have Patrick Mahomes for the correlation. And we didn't really need him drafting McBride, who we're assuming is going to be our guy. Shaheed, I think he's been very undervalued. Great player for best ball. And we've got Olave, right? We can go with Shuck later on. And I mean, it's a different bye week, right? Yeah, different bye week. So if we wanted to go Kyler Shuck, we can do that. Shuck's going to be available to us in the last round. I don't know that he's going to be the quarterback is the problem with Shuck, but that's why he's available in the last round. Yeah, the hope is that he wins the job. I think he's going to win the job. That's my guess. This is the title of the video I reference. I don't know what he's talking about. Someone probably asked a question earlier. Martin Harrison Jr. McBride stack would have been nice. Yeah, so I'll pull that up. So if we look here, yes, but you have to take Marv, and maybe I'll do this in a few. I think it makes more sense. So the stack there that works is Chase. If you can go Chase, Marv, McBride, or what people commonly do is Chase, T. Higgins, then one of McBride or Marv, you get that huge week. It's week 15, right? Week 17 game. Okay, so everyone's stacking for Cardinals at Bengals week 17. I think that makes more sense than it does grabbing them here uncorrelated with one of Jefferson or Bijan. Like if you're going to do that, like Marv, again, gets available. He ended up going at 26, but I've seen him fall to like 30. I don't want to take him at, 21 just so I can stack them with Marv at 28. And I don't even know I'm going to get Marv at 28. So it's like, I'd rather do that at that 24 pick if I was going to do it. Okay. We're going to be up at 117. We'd consider Mark Andrews. I mean, that's pretty good value. Okay, there he goes. We wouldn't take another tight end. Not in love with wide receiver. Kyle would be the guy, but I'm not in love with that. I never get Tyron Tracy, but if he's going to fall this far, I'd be fine with that. And he would probably be the play over Kyle. Quarterback, again, unless the quarterback's a really good value, we're probably just going to take Shuck because I'm just going to assume that Kyler can just kind of get it done for us with him not there. Tracy goes, that kind of stinks. But yeah, I think we take the explosiveness of Kyle Williams, keep adding to this wide receiver room because I'm not in love. Oh, no. We go Tootin here. I think the upside of Tootin, I talk about him in, it's going to be the Friday video. Love Tootin. Love him as a prospect. If you can just hold on to the football, they might end up trading away Travis Etienne, and then you've got a guy that goes into round 5. So I've been trying to load up on him in this round like 10, 11 range because he's a player that, what happens if they trade away Etienne in July and he actually is going in round 5? I'm getting builds that like a lot of people are not able to get in this contest. And so that's significant value. So like whenever that's a possibility to me, and then even if it's not traded away, even if it's just during the season, I just think he's so much better than Travis Etienne that I want to be loading up on him. Probably should have paid attention. 124. Sharps wouldn't be bad here. So Sharps, I don't know if I want to go with Kirk again, but I think we had Houston as a stack there. Yeah, I should have paid a little bit more attention here. I think Kirk makes more sense. I think Sharps is fine. I think that Ken Walker's way better than him as a player. And so you are taking handcuff. It's tough for me to take the handcuff in round 11. It's not bad, but I think already having Bijan, Hampton, Tootin, I feel really good about those 3. I don't think we needed the 4th running back at that spot. And again, I want to say, yeah, okay. So we had the Arizona at Houston week 15. I think that was way more beneficial to our team. Again, I'm not like in love with Christian Kirk. I feel like drafting him twice here, maybe that comes across. I love Nico Collins. He's a clear one. I think Jaden Higgins has a lot of upside, but I'll take Kirk at this ADP. He's still good value, even if he's not going to be the number one there. It has no chance of being number one, obviously. Can you run Schnauzer after? First of all, no. It's 3 drafts. Maybe when we get to August, maybe we can start doing that. 3 drafts. I don't know how much about that. So unfortunately, no. I'm not going to do a Schnauzer after. Half PPR, Mixon or Ken Walker. Yeah, that's a tough range, but I think I don't know that the Chubb signing really moves the needle that much, but I think Ken Walker is a great player. I think the play calling is going to be better this season. Obviously, I liked Ryan Grubb last season. I thought he was going to throw the ball a lot, and I just like coordinators that do that. He did throw the ball a lot, but he ended up not being a good coordinator. He did some things that were okay. I really like that screenplay that they would run with JSN, but I think now they've got better play calling that they're going to have. I just think Ken Walker, I don't know. He hasn't hit yet, but I can see a world where Ken Walker is a top 7 running back. Easily, I can see that happening. Mixon, I can also see it, but it's a little bit more thin in my eyes. But I guess it could occur. But I just like Ken Walker a little bit more. Okay. Really like Goddard. So I'd be fine with him as that second guy. Legette's ADP is skyrocketing, man. I remember when we used to be, I was way overweight on him when he was in like the 60s, 160s, I feel like. I think we go with Goddard here. Oh, Benson makes sense too. I really want Goddard, but we've already got Arizona there. Man, I'm going to have to go with Benson, aren't I? That stinks. I like Goddard. I feel like I pass on him a lot. I'm not going to get him with this next pick either, but I knew Benson wasn't going to be there either because these guys have 2 running backs, 3, 2. I guess it's the same person that has the 2, but the 2 person was going to take a running back, and Benson was pretty clearly the top running back, but yeah, there goes Goddard. That's okay though. Again, because I had McBride, I think I can be very careful where I take that next tight end and getting that stack. Like if James Conner goes down, man, that Benson share just shoots through the moon. Be fine with him here. Not going wide receiver, not going running back, not going to go with quarterback. So I guess we take Ferguson, when everyone's healthy in that offense, going to be the number 3. Explosive offense, plenty of dome games, plenty of touchdown upside. Dude had a ton of expected touchdowns. Very involved for someone going at 148. On a very good offense for someone going at 148. I think people kind of forget how good this Dallas offense can be when it's all clicking. I don't know. I'm good with McBride Ferguson. I'm good with that. Again, I prefer getting Dallas there, but if you had me say, I take Dallas and then what, right? I'm not going to take Ferguson. There was no other really player I wanted that pick. I think that was the right move. It's just unfortunate how it kind of ended up happening. Okay. Only have 11 picks left. I feel like this one's moving relatively quickly. Future first, probably late. Go back to that one. If it's probably late, then I'm fine with it. To acquire, I can't even find it right now. But to acquire McBride. Yeah, I can't find it. But to acquire McBride, I'd be fine with that because it was a late first, a third, and yeah, I'd be fine with that. Not if it was earlier mid though. How would you rank Henderson, Judkins, Chuba, Kamara, and Ken Walker really in a full PPR league? All right. Un momento. Actually, I'll just do that in the app. The app is much better for accessing things quickly. All right. My rankings, full PPR, running back. Okay, so who are the people? It goes Kamara, Ken Walker, Henderson, Chuba, Judkins. Because I don't project Judkins for a ton of receptions right now. And he's on what's going to be the lowest scoring team in the league. I like him as a prospect, but Pat Bryant's on waivers along with Neal and Chubb. My wide receiver room is A.J. Brown, Ladd, London. I mean, you have a great wide receiver room, running back room, Bijan, B-Rob. How do you rank those three? We have to do this first, but I really like Pat Bryant. But I'm probably still going Neal given your situation. Probably Neal, Pat, and then Chubb. All right, at 165. Obviously, we have value here for McMillan. But, well, we could probably get Michael Wilson after. We have 6 wideouts. Again, we're going to take Shuck late. We could have taken Jawan, too, now I'm thinking of it. Oh, we're on the clock. We're not going to go with Bryce. We're not going to go Jalen. Huh. I mean, we can go with Noel because we're probably going to be able to get 2 of these guys. Why don't we go with Noel? We're probably going to get Michael Wilson at the next pick. That'll probably end wide receiver for us. We'll have 16, 17, 18 to draft Shuck and either running back Jawan or 2 running backs. But we probably don't need 2 running backs here. So yeah, I was fine reaching a little bit for Noel. Again, we get that Houston stack going. Yeah, we'll probably end it with Michael Wilson at 172. I'm fine reaching 5 spots. At this late in the draft, reaching is pretty irrelevant. We only have that many picks left. And actually, by my rankings, it's not even a reach. Lloyd. I feel like Lloyd's going to rise. I have him a decent amount ahead of ADP, but I feel like he's going to keep rising. So yeah, we'll go with Michael Wilson. It's like I feel like we don't even need another wide receiver. I feel like we're doing good on these teams because I hate drafts where I get later on and I'm like, oh man, I need this position, I need this position. I only have 2 picks left and I have like 5 things I need. But Ladd, Metcalf, Olave, Myers, Shaheed, Kirk, Noel, Michael Wilson. That's looking great for wide receiver. Kyler, again, we're going to have Shuck. McBride Ferguson is fine there. And then having Bijan, Hampton, Tootin, and Benson. We have 3 picks left. Okay. I like it. I like how this is going. We do need to make sure we get Shuck, but no one really reaches on him, and I can just take him in 17. I don't have a problem with that. Do you do Dynasty Best Ball Leagues? I do not. It sounds fun, but I'm only in 1 Dynasty League, and it is not Best Ball. It sounds like a cool idea. It sounds like a cool idea in theory, but realistically, the more fun part of Dynasty is making a lot of roster moves and is kind of changing things around. I guess it'd be fine with just the best ball scoring, but like obviously still allowing trading, allowing waivers, things like that. Not like pure best ball where it's like draft and then nothing happens. That wouldn't be any fun for Dynasty. Is double and triple stacking smart or dumb? Opinions. Well, in best ball, no, it's smart to do, especially if you're trying to say, I think this team is underrated. Let's invest in this team. And if they benefit, it goes up. If you're talking about redraft, I would stay away from stacking for the most part, unless you have a very strong take. In redraft, it can really hurt you, even if you hit on the stack, because there's going to be even games where like really good teams, even when they win, just don't hit for their top players and then sit in the fourth quarter, things like that happening. Like, because that low end can just like lose you weeks and the high end still doesn't necessarily win you weeks. You don't really want to stack and redraft. But no, in best ball, absolutely, you should be stacking. When you have a quarterback that's not hypermobile, definitely going to be wanting multiple pass catchers on that team. When you start getting to like 5 dudes, it starts to get like a little bit too much. Like I'm probably at the end of it here with like Kyler, Benson, Michael Wilson, and McBride. I probably shouldn't do too much more than that. I think Shipley makes sense for us to go here. But yeah, especially with like pocket passers. What do we have? We have 3 picks left. I think you go Shipley because I think he's, I don't want to say far and away the best running back, but it starts to really fall off after Shipley. I don't have a lot of faith in a lot of those guys. So lock in that last running back. That's probably all I'll do at running back. At 17, you probably just take Shuck. And then after that, maybe you go Jawan and we do a 3 tight end build because I don't want another running back. there really aren't quarterbacks left. I mean, if you wanted to go, if you wanted to go Rodgers, that'd be interesting. It is interesting. Do you go Rodgers here, cross your fingers for Shuck in 18? That might be worth it because we have Metcalf. And Rodgers here is a pretty good value. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to cross my fingers because it's like I have Olave and I have Shaheed. And like Juwan's not even gone yet. So assuming Juwan doesn't go, assuming he lasts until at least the 18th, no one's stacking him. So it's only the Kamara team? I don't know. Do we really think that Chuck's going to go? And is it the end of the world at this point if it's the bye week, though? Oh, thank goodness. I was going to say, because we could get through in the bye week there. All right. I like this. We're hoping for Chuck, though, here. There we go. Should I hold Loveland in your 12-man non-tight end premium? I already have Bowers and Auten, but nobody wants Loveland for the price I'm asking. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna draft a guy and then dump him for nothing, I mean, why? You know, like you're the one that drafted him. You know, like it's your fault, I guess. Hope that he goes off, right? Hope that maybe he does well and you can end up trading Bowers, or maybe Auten falls into some touchdown luck. You can trade him. I don't know, but yeah, hold him because you're not trading a rookie after the draft before we even get into padded practices. You're not selling low on a rookie there. The problem with K9 is Sharp is more than a handcuff. Close to 40% snap share with Walker. Hard for me to see K9 as a league winner, plus with the injury history, best season running back 18. I mean, you're hoping that the change of coaching staff, I mean, last season, they went all in on Ken Walker. Like when healthy last season, which wasn't very long, but when healthy last season, I mean, Ken Walker was a stud for this team and was getting a ton of workload, didn't hit and couldn't stay healthy very long, but you never know with a coaching staff. They might just prefer the better talent. I don't necessarily think it's a lock that Charbonnet has like a 40% snap share this season. All right, we're 2 picks away. We're probably going to get Shuck. If we don't, I'm not even prepared for what will happen. I would not take a running back. I don't know. I'd probably just take Slayton because I like taking him late. All right, good. We get Shuck. And I think it makes sense. And instead of going for a 9th wide receiver, I feel good enough about the wide receiver room. And if Olave is going to hit, if Shaheed's going to hit, I want to correlate some of that with Shuck. So yeah. 3-5-8-2 build. But I'm good with the 2 at tight end. I like this team. I think this team turned out really well. I think I like both of the teams in the drafts that we've had going on here. All right, I'll try and answer some of these to close things off here. In Dynasty, is Collins worth 2 first-round picks? Would most likely be late first-round picks too, because your championship window and should do well. Well, I will open up the Dynasty rankings. So right now I have him as effectively worth an early first. I mean, I have him right behind Genty. No other rookie is in that range. So 2 late first round picks. If it's next season too, probably. I mean, a late first round pick right now I have valued around like 30, probably like 30 for value, and Nico on his own is 77. So yeah, I would say Nico's worth that. Especially if it's, especially if it's like 2027 as well. But factoring in that you're going to have like a pretty good team. Why don't you make any Dynasty content? There's not enough time in the year. I do so much work over the off season to develop new products and everything that can't do Dynasty content then. And then we get into the season. And honestly, I've done some in the past, but just like the viewership isn't really there. Not enough people like it. So kind of got to go with where the views are at points. But I can always do Dynasty content in these live streams for you guys. But I guess on the website, yeah. So we have Dynasty Rankings on the website. I have over and undervalued players on the website. We have prospect models for the rookies. I have year 2, 3 models for running backs and wide receivers. We have the grades. We have player comps for everyone. So there's plenty of content on the website. It's just not as much videos. Is it bad you find yourself not stacking in some situations? Yes. So unless you are drafting a hypermobile quarterback stack, like if you draft Stafford and it's not correlated, you draft Tua, it's not correlated. What are you doing? You have to be stacking to capitalize on things. Because it's not that hard. You saw there was so many times where I kind of opened up and was like, oh, here's a stack. Like it's not that hard to kind of correlate there. That's how it's like you're in 3 leagues on Sleeper and you never do regular Dynasty again. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I've never really tried out best ball for Dynasty. You'd guess 40% of your teams don't have a major stack. Yeah, I would bump it up. I'd do a lot more. Ever had a big tourney win? I was in the final for Best Ball Mania last year. Do you guys remember the I think it was the Thursday game of I don't remember who was home. I think the Bengals were home maybe, but Bengals and Broncos when Mims mossed the defender and that game just started to shoot out after that. I think I lost around $10,000 just because of that one catch. Like if that is just batted down and we can end this game quickly, probably would have had about 10 grand more, but still obviously finished highly there. I think I got like 6,000 or 7,000 on that lineup. But you got to be lucky. I mean, you got to be so lucky to actually make teams into the final for Best Ball Mania. Like I had a great advancement rate, but like it's so hard. I mean, you have to get second out of 12 or top 2 out of 12. Then you get first out of 13, first out of 16 just to make it to the final. So it's something you only anticipate happening, once every, I think technically average is 8 years, but you're trying to be at a better rate than that. Would you rather overpay for Higgins, pay value for DK, or go Pickens plus in Dynasty? Your wide receiver room is Evans, Myers, Reed, and Ayuk and Judy. Okay, this is the last question we have to do here. Would you rather overpay for Higgins, pay value for DK, or go Pickens plus? I guess I don't know what the plus is in Dynasty. You only have Evans, Myers. So you're thin. I'd say that's thin at wide receiver. Relatively thin. I don't think I'd overpay for Higgins in Dynasty, for being honest with ourselves. I have Higgins in Dynasty. If someone wants to overpay, I'll let them have him. So I guess pay value for DK. Pickens, I guess, yeah, it depends what the Pickens plus is, but I don't know. I think Pickens added into your group kind of mixes it around a lot. I'd value for DK. That's what I said. That's what I would say. All right. That'll do it for this one. 2 pretty good videos coming up Wednesday and Friday. I already have those up on the channel. So stay tuned for those. Really like the Friday video for sleepers. But that's it for this one. Like the stream if you're still here. Pretty sure all you're subscribed, so thank you for subscribing. And also do the Underdog promo. If any of you have not done the Underdog promo, don't have an Underdog account, or looking to sign up, you're going to get the rankings for free. Like you're literally going to get Underdog, redraft, and in season with projections. Like you're going to get the DraftKings projections. You're going to get like the daily content on the site, even just for signing up for Underdog and just joining drafts. So use promo code FFA, join at least one draft. You can access all that. So anyways, see you on the streams next week. Thank you all for watching.